very good evening and welcome to News Watch. Tonight we're coming to you live from 28 Valley Road with the latest stories. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Tony Omondi and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Let's begin with our top story tonight. Now, as President Uhuru Kenyatta continues to face pressure, the Law Society of Kenya, LSK, has declared plans to lead mass protests to occupy Parliament precincts until a by-election is held. LSK President Nelson Havi said the occupation of Parliament will commence on October 12th until the day Kenyans will be allowed to elect new representatives. Addressing a press conference on Chief Justice David Maraga's advice for the dissolution of Parliament, Havi further called on Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai to withdraw bodyguards assigned to legislators once the set timeline lapses. The society wants the president to heed to Maraga's call to dissolve Parliament to pave way for fresh elections. Our reporter Alice Diana begins with this report.
The president will be in violation of the constitution should he fail to dissolve Parliament on or before the 12th of October 2020. Regardless of the president's action or inaction, Parliament will be unlawful effective the 12th of October 2020. The consequence of this is this: any legislative authority exercised by Parliament subsequent thereafter will be without the authority of the people of Kenya.
President Uhuru Kenyatta continues to find himself between a rock and a hard place following an advisory to dissolve Parliament over the continued violation of the 2/3 gender representation rule. Chief Justice David Maraga on Monday called for the dissolution of Parliament, citing its several failed attempts to enact the gender bill despite 4 court orders. The Law Society of Kenya, LSK, has weighed in on the matter and now wants President Uhuru Kenyatta to heed to Maraga's advisory and dissolve Parliament as soon as possible. LSK, through its president Nelson Havi, says the president has until October to dissolve Parliament, and by October 12th, MPs' salaries should be stopped, security withdrawn, and parliamentary precincts and constituency offices closed.
We have this morning written to the Cabinet Secretary in charge of National Treasury and Planning to cease the remittance of salaries and allowances to members of the National Assembly and senators of the 12th Parliament with effect from the 12th of October 2020. Further, we have written to the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Security, as well as the Inspector General of the National Police, to withdraw all police officers designated to guard these who will be former parliamentarians, be it in Nairobi or in their constituencies.
According to the law body, there is no lacuna in law on what happens going forward once Parliament is dissolved, and so IEBC should conduct a mass by-election within 90 days, with those elected only serving for the remainder of the term before the 2022 general election. LSK further advised the electoral body while preparing for a possible by-election to ensure that the 2/3 gender principle is adhered to by political parties during nominations.
IEBC should be prepared to hold a by-election at most within 90 days from the 12th of October. Kenya has money, a lot of money. Let that money not be pilfered. Let the money be used towards upholding the rule of law and constitutionalism.
Maraga's advisory to President Uhuru Kenyatta has received opposition and support in equal measure, with the Parliamentary Service Commission vying to move to court over the matter, even as former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi called for wider consultations.
I've seen political party leaders led by Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and Honorable Musalia Mudavadi lamenting the action of the Chief Justice. They are the cause of this problem, Kenyans.
LSK says it will write to international organizations and Kenya's development partners not to transact any business that requires Parliament's approval as long as the stalemate persists. At the same time, the society threatened to lead Kenyans to occupy Parliament effective October 12, 2020 if Parliament is not dissolved. For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Alice Diana.
Wiper Democratic Movement Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has weighed in on CJ David Maraga's advisory to dissolve Parliament. Kalonzo said the advisory to the president needs serious interrogation. Now, the court has, however, halted the implementation of the advisory pending the hearing and determination of a petition filed by 2 Kenyans. Kalonzo said the advisory puts President Uhuru Kenyatta in a position where he will be forced to say no, whose implications will be a constitutional crisis. Grace Ongoi reports.
Wiper Democratic Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has weighed in on the advisory given by the Supreme Court President David Maraga to the head of state President Uhuru Kenyatta that he dissolves parliament. In his opinion, parliament should not be dissolved. According to him, the remarks by the Chief Justice should be carefully interrogated, as the Chief Justice did not pronounce the remarks from the bench.
The fact that the learned Chief Justice did not deal with this matter in an open court where he could have been moved along with maybe 2 other judges of the Supreme Court and therefore be able to issue an advisory. My own position, even as an officer of the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal and an officer of the High Court, being a senior counsel, is that advisory needs serious interrogation.
His argument for not supporting dissolution of parliament is due to the economic constraints imposed on the country by COVID-19, as well as what he terms as a dysfunctional IEBC that will not be able to conduct the elections at this time.
As a political movement, because wearing the other hat, I'm a leader of a political party, we believe in 50-50 formula. Watch 2/3. We believe in a mama 50 was there, because women make excellent leaders. But the question now is, given the pandemic, given the environment, the reality of the situation in this country, given there's not even, in my view, a dysfunctional IEBC, is it really thinkable that this country can go to an election on account of this advisory?
Wiper leader has been among leaders in the country who are pushing for a change in constitution. Speaking while distributing food to disability, widows and orphanage groups in Dagoretti and Kibra, Kalonzo reiterated on the need to have a constitution that allows the country to breathe and does not suffocate it.
The constitution itself being the basic law, and therefore the mother and the father of what I'm calling that grown norm, because everything must be subject to the constitution. It should be a document that has ability to make the country breathe and not suffocate the country. So we can't avoid, we can have constitutional suffocation. And so we must avoid that. Therefore the need to amend the constitution itself.
Interestingly is the fact that a change in constitution will require a referendum that will undoubtedly need financing. The same leaders who are against dissolution of parliament on grounds of financial implications are the same leaders who are still calling for amendments to the constitution, which will also cost the country billions if a referendum is held. Grace Ongoi, Hope TV Newswatch.
Now, Deputy President William Ruto has met an aspirant of the upcoming Msambweni by-election a day after the Jubilee Party agreed not to field a candidate in the by-election. Ruto, alongside a section of his allies from the coastal region, met Faisal Abdallah Bader, who seeks to vie as an independent candidate even after the Jubilee Party agreed to support an ODM candidate in the by-election due to the political relationship between the two parties. Ruto had earlier said he held a different opinion from that of the party on fielding a candidate in Msambweni. Dickens Luvanda has this report.
The differences between Deputy President William Ruto and the Jubilee Party, where is the Deputy Party leader, seem to be escalating just a day after the party opted not to go for the Msambweni National Assembly by-election, slated for December 15, 2020, in the spirit of a handshake. Ruto was of the decision that Jubilee faces ODM in the by-election, and reports say that he had already set stage for a preferred candidate who will face off with an ODM candidate. One of the aspirants, Mariam Shaleta Kinyi, decamped ODM a few days ago and joined the Jubilee Party in readiness for the mini poll, but was disappointed following the announcement by the Jubilee Secretary General Raphael Tuju on Wednesday.
So now the people of Msambweni want to know if this country is being turned into a one-party state or what. Because it is my democratic right. It is to vie for the Msambweni by-elections parliamentary seat. It is also the democratic right of the residents of Msambweni to elect a leader that they think is fit to represent them in parliament. Kwa hiyo mimi nimesikitika sana, namwambia Tuju atupatie mwelekezo. Na mimi sitoki hapa bila tikiti ya Jubilee. Because this is not fair, really. Where is the space of women in this country? Where is the space of the youth? Hii ni makosa sana.
Despite Ruto seemingly pledging to support Mariam, he on Thursday met an independent candidate, Faisal Abdallah Badera, who seeks to replace the late Sulaiman Dori as Msambweni Member of Parliament, an indication that the second-in-command is ready to campaign against ODM's candidate.
I sympathize with Madam Mariam. I know she had indicated that she wanted to run as a Jubilee candidate. Unfortunately, a decision has been made that we will not field a candidate there. And I want to really wish her well. I don't know in which way, because this is the party she wanted to run. Sasa tutajipanga tu na yule mwenye wale watakuwa huko. Na akiwa mmoja wao akiniongelesha vizuri naweza kumsaidia.
Ruto met Badera, who is said to be the late area MP Dori's personal assistant, alongside several coastal members of parliament, including Lamu East MP Athman Sharif, Mohamed Ali of Nyali, ODM's own buyer of Kilifi North, Khatib Mwashetani of Lungalunga, and Aisha Juma of Malindi, at his current residence in Nairobi. Even though Msambweni constituency in Kwale County is perceived to be one of the core strongholds of Raila Odinga's Orange Democratic Movement, Ruto has been making inroads in the area ahead of his 2022 presidential bid. Already, Ruto, who was receiving backing from the late Dori, has won support of all sitting Kwale County MPs, who include Lungalunga's Khatib Mwashetani of Jubilee Party, Kinango's Benjamin Tayari of ODM, and Matuga's Kasim Tandaza from ANC Party. And so, the Msambweni by-election win for him will be a plus to his 2022 presidential bid.
The media, mjambo.
So far, ODM National Elections Board has received applications from 2 candidates, who include former Gumbato Ward MCA Ido Marboga and Nicholas Zani, who is the brother to ODM-nominated Senator Agnes Zani, and all are expected to battle for the ODM party ticket in primaries before kicking off campaigns.
Kama Jubilee Party wanataka ati sasa wao
Dickens Lavanda, Hope TV News Watch.
Now, on to COVID situation. Now, the country has recorded 141 new coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours after a sample size of 3,307 was tested, bringing the total number of infections to 37,489. Addressing the press in Thika, Kiambu County Health CS, Dr. Mercy Mwangangi said 103 are males while 38 are females. At the same time, 81 patients have recovered from the virus, bringing the total number of recoveries to 24,334. At the same time, 5 more patients have succumbed to the disease, raising the country's tally to 669. In terms of county distribution, Trans Nzoia leads with 28, followed by Nakuru with 24, Nairobi 14, Mombasa 14, Kiambu 9, Migori 8, Kisumu 6, Kajiado 6, Uasin Gishu 5, Narok 5, Kitui 5, Turkana 5, Bungoma 2, Homa Bay 2 cases, West Pokot 2 cases, Machakos 2, Murang'a 1, Nandi 1, Vihiga 1, Meru 1, and Busia 1. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has lauded the Kenya Defence Forces KDF for their efforts in protecting the country from external threats, including terrorist groups. The president, who addressed recruits during a military pass-out parade in Eldoret, said KDF had made good progress in bringing stability to Kenya's neighboring countries. He has challenged the recruits to discharge their duties as expected while emulating their superiors in dealing with challenges that lie ahead. President Kenyatta also recognized the contribution of KDF to the country's development in challenging Kenyans to embrace the efficiency of the officers in executing their mandate. During this year's event, and for the first time in history, the recruits took the oath of allegiance in the absence of their families due to COVID-19 restrictions.
Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Rais, utuongoze kwa sherehe hizi muhimu sana za kufuzu, utuongoze rasmi katika sherehe hizi.
And it is important for you to appreciate that we still need to invest more effort to downgrade and degrade the Al-Shabaab terrorists so as to not only safeguard our sovereignty and territorial integrity, but also help stabilize the entire Eastern African region. The training you have undergone is to empower you with the skills necessary to solve this problem. You are in the service of justice, and you are the agents and protectors of this nation. This is your ultimate contribution to the people of Kenya, who by accepting to pay tax have sacrificed to ensure you successfully discharge your duties, and I urge you to apply yourselves in the most patriotic and professional manner at all times. We also recognize the contribution that our defense forces continue to make to our country as a whole, especially in utilizing your skills and assets to spearhead selected strategic development projects. The rehabilitation works, for example, on the Nairobi-Nyanyuki meter gauge railway, the work done by Navy engineers in rehabilitating the Kisumu port, and the ongoing Nakuru-Kisumu line, the work that is ongoing there, are a few of such projects that the Defense Forces has executed with excellence, and for this reason, we are indeed proud of your contribution to the realization of the Vision 2030 journey. Several female recruits have completed the course with their male counterparts, and this is yet another manifestation of my administration's commitment to ensure equal opportunities to all, and indeed to empower our women folk. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important for these young women working alongside men to find meaning and purpose in their work. When these young men and women joined the Kenya Defense Forces from all parts of this great nation, they became one cohesive family. And together, your mission is clear: to protect our country's sovereignty and territorial integrity, defend our people, and undertake any other tasks assigned to you from time to time.
Well, with that story, let's take a short commercial break on News Watch. We'll be back shortly with more. Keep it Hope TV.
Tunakuletea burudani safi kutoka wanamuziki wa nyimbo za sifa na ibada, mahojiano ya moja kwa moja na mafunzo ya hali ya juu.
Dhamira ya mtu ikifa anaweza fanya anything. Because kile kinanitofautisha na mbuzi ni dhamira.
There was this time niliambia Mungu, mimi samahani Mungu, lakini naona umenifanya mimi kuwa daraja. Sitaki.
Ni mahali pa uchipuzi na ulezi wa vipaji.
Mwimbaji anaweza itisha akitaka, lakini unajua hiyo ni sauti hajanunua. Hujanunua, hiyo ni umebarikiwa nayo. So hiyo unaweza mupeane aidha bure ama. Lakini hii pande nyingine sisi tumeinvest, ni investment ona.
Tunabeba mwili, lakini mimi sikujua hii ni maagano nafanya.
Ungana naye Mwalimu Shaban Brima kila Ijumaa saa 2 jioni na marudio kila Jumamosi saa 10 jioni.
Machozi ya furaha nishangaze baba, ushuhuda wangu watambua wewe ni Mungu.
Are you looking to settle your family in an affordable, clean and serene environment? Look no further than Garden of Joy in Machakos by Optiven. The project strategically sits between the Mua and Koma Hills, providing you with beautiful landscapes, fresh air and a much-needed break from the hustle and bustle of the city. The Garden of Joy also comes with a jogging track, a meditation park and a children's play area, making it the perfect location to set up your countryside home. Get your value-added plot at only 1.295 million shillings. We also have flexible payment options of up to 12 months. Call us today on 0702 8310 83 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Welcome back to this live broadcast of Hope TV Newswatch. Now, Deputy President William Ruto has asked politicians to stop tribalism and unite to confront challenges facing the country. Speaking in Kajiado County during a tour, Ruto called on leaders to have a discourse on the empowerment of Kenyans rather than seeking to create more seats and positions for a few. At the same time, the Deputy President has condemned continuous intimidation of politicians affiliated to him, saying they will not be guided by fear. Our reporter Mark Kimondo has this story.
Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Hebu mnisalimie hewani hivi nione Bwana Yesu asifiwe.
Deputy President William Ruto on Thursday took his Hustler campaigns to Kajiado County, despite opposition from his critics over the slogan. The DP, who is on a mission to cement his 2022 presidential bid, visited Kajiado days after touring Gusii Land and the coastal region, where he addressed residents in Kajiado and Ilbisil towns and slammed his critics, saying they have been threatening his political ambition.
So we are telling those who are selling to us fear, they should stop that nonsense. We have no business with fear. We want to discuss about hope and about the hope of every citizen and every child of the Republic of Kenya.
Hii Kenya ina wapungufu wa wajinga. Wajinga hakuna tena. Na nataka niseme huyo jamaa anaitwa Kola, ambaye hawa jamaa wanataka kutumia. Unajua hakuna mwizi ambaye atatoka nje bila kushirikiana na mwizi wa nyumbani.
Ruto, who was headed to Maparasha, Olchoro, Oibor area for the Olngesher Lul Imerishia ceremony of the Mapatano clan, called for unity, saying leaders must unite and confront the challenges Kenya is facing by empowering citizens rather than seeking to create more seats and positions for themselves.
Hatuwezi kuendelea kuongea mambo ya ukabila, tunataka kuongea mambo ya hustle ya mtu. Tunataka kuacha ukabila, tuongee mambo ya bodaboda, tuongee mambo ya mama mboga, tuongee mambo ya hustler, kwa sababu we need to move the conversation.
Niko tayari kulipa gharama ya Mmasai kupata haki yake. Niko tayari kulipa gharama ya Mmasai kupata shamba yake.
Ruto has been rubbing shoulders with the pro-BBI brigade led by ODM party leader Raila Odinga over the hustler slogan, with Kotu Secretary General Francis Atwoli being the latest critics to slam the DP and asked him to stop calling Kenyans hustlers.
Nataka kumwambia nyinyi ya kwamba akileta hiyo pesa chukueni. Manake ni yenu ile ambayo wameiba.
The brief meaning of hustler is this: a person who employs fraudulent or unscrupulous methods to obtain money. Swindler, informal, he earns his living as a pool hustler. Why do you want to be associated with such a name? Na ile mtu anakuambia hustler ana 5 choppers.
Ati wanatisha watu. Ati ukionekana na hustler, ati utafanyiwa, ati utapelekwa, ati itakuwa. Mimi nataka niwaambie hawa watu. Sisi hatuna biashara na uoga. Sisi tunataka hope.
Mark Kimundo, Newswatch.
Moving on, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, has urged the Ministry of Education to cushion parents from a 1 billion shilling bill. 3 days after teachers were asked to report back to schools by Monday next week, KUPPET has asked the government to provide at least 3 reusable face masks to learners in both primary and secondary schools ahead of an approaching reopening. The union's chairman, Amboko Milemba, and Sekjen Akelo Misori addressed the press in Nairobi, where they say that primary and secondary schools have 12 million students, which will cost the government about 1 billion shillings to cater for the face masks. Misori also acknowledged that school fees hurdles, saying school administrations are likely to work closely with parents, especially for those children who are in boarding schools, on how best the fees will be paid.
You also remember that with the schools closed down, the economy of this nation can easily crumble. But with the children in school, so many businesses will open up, and the losses we have realized in the past, where quite a number of parents are at home, may not be there. On the issue of school fees, school fees issue can be managed administratively by the Ministry of Education. And I think what problem we envisage here is that boarding schools are adversely affected. But majority of the schools, which form nearly 72% of all schools we have in this country, are day schools and generally free. What fees they pay, or the kind of fees they pay, are basically fees to manage their feeding programs and so on. But others which require, like building funds and other things, that one can be administratively dealt with concurrence with the Ministry of Education. So in that regard, I don't think there will be sufficient reason not to open.
5 residents of Nyandarua County have filed a petition at the Nyahururu High Court petitioning Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i and 4 others to revoke a gazette notice gazetting Shamata Township as designated headquarters for the newly created Aberdare Sub-County. The larger Nyandarua West Sub-County, which is part of Oljoro constituency, was split into 2, where the new Sub-County was named as Gadhanji Sub-County and its headquarters placed at Ngano Trading Center. In the petition, the 5, Mwangi Gadua, Charles Gitau, Jason Jogu, Paul Mwangi and Erastus Muridhi, who are residents of Ndaragwa constituency, have faulted Dr. Matiang'i, Nyandarua Governor Francis Kimemia, Ndaragwa MP Jeremiah Kioni, and the Attorney General, who are the respondents in the petition for merging Kirita and Shamata wards.
The Cabinet Secretary for Interior created a sub-county via the National Government Coordination Act, and he created that is Aberdare Sub-County, which comprises of Kirita Ward and Shamata Ward. These 2 regions are distinct geographically.
Tumekuja kufile petition kwa sababu ya hii new sub-county Aberdare, na hatuna shida na Aberdare sub-county, lakini tuko na shida na haja yetu kuu ni ile njia ilipitiwa ili iwe mahali pale.
Sasa tuko hapa, kuna wengine wamepanga jama, they are demonstrating pale Mairo 4 ya kwamba hawataki county, ati hawataki district hapa. You know, unaanza kuangalia, na ninaweza nikakwambia ni nani wameweka pesa wamepatia watu pesa ya petroli pale. Can you imagine what this means to the whole of us as people of Daragwa?
Gazette notice inasema district ni hii na nini inakuwa kwa hiyo district. So kama mtu mwingine anasema anataka kuomba, anaomba yake. Siko hivyo, msigombanie kitu.
Illegal firearm holders from the upper eastern region of the country have been directed to surrender their weapons by the end of the month. The Deputy Regional Commissioner, Eastern Region, Dr. Hassan Abdi, said those in possession of the illegal weapons from Isiolo, Meru and Marsabit counties will be severely penalized if they don't submit their weapons. Dr. Abdi said that residents of the 3 counties have for years been experiencing incidences of insecurity because of the presence of firearms in the wrong hands. He cited some of the incidents as cattle rustling, highway banditry, robbery and burglary targeting innocent people. Speaking in Isiolo during a sensitization meeting for peace ambassadors from the 3 counties convened by the Kenya National Focal Point on Small Arms and Light Weapons, the Deputy Regional Commissioner called upon those in possession of unlicensed firearms to surrender them to the county security team or the chiefs.
Sehemu hii imeathirika sana kutokana na silaha haramu ambayo iko kwa mikono ya wananchi. Na tumepewa nafasi hadi katika mwisho wa mwezi huu ili waweze kusalimisha silaha hii. Kwa hivyo tumekuja kuhamasisha na tunawaomba wananchi wote katika sehemu hii na Kenya kwa jumla ya kwamba ni serikali peke yake ama kwa idhini ya serikali ndio mtu anaweza kumiliki silaha. Silaha ambayo haijaidhinishwa na si ya serikali inapaswa iregeshwe mara moja, na hii ndio wakati ambapo tunaweza kuchukua nafasi hiyo na kusalimisha silaha hii.
Waziri wetu Bwana Daktari Fred Matiang'i tarehe 8 mwezi wa Septemba huu alianzisha rasmi. He launched officially the September Amnesty Month. Rudisha bunduki na hautaulizwa swali. Lakini ukichelewa, serikali ina mkono mrefu, itatafuta mbinu na itakufikia.
Amani ni kitu muhimu kwa kila mmoja. Tutaongeza katika kazi yetu ya kusihi waumini wa Kristo kwa Waislamu tuitikie wito huu ili tuweze kujenga jamii njema tukiwa na umoja na amani. Mwito huu unatuhusu hata sisi kikasi ili tusaidiane na serikali, tusaidiane na jamii kuondoa madhara kama haya.
And Siaya County Police Commander Francis Corley has called on law enforcement officers to embrace integrity and focus on effective service delivery to climb the career ladder in the National Police Service. Corley said that the National Police Service is now going for the best officers to head various cadres in the service, hence the need for all officers to up their game. He was addressing officers of various ranks who are scheduled to appear before the County Selection Board for promotion interviews. On security in the county, Corley said that the police officers have managed to contain cases of insecurity with a heightened crackdown on illicit liquor dens.
We want to go for the best, those ones who will come and serve people better. We are focused on service delivery, quality service delivery, because today it's about reforms, and reforms needs people who are more focused. Yeah, you see, they have emphasized on Chapter 6 and Article 232. So these are the things that we are focusing on to make sure we bring a qualified breed.
You must be a graduate police constable with a minimum of C+. In case KCSE and officers who got below C+, they must have a proof of bridging certificates.
Kisauni Member of Parliament Ali Mbogo has laid a foundation stone for the construction of Mwembe Legeza Secondary School, the first school in the area in Shanzu Ward. Mbogo said the 15 million shilling project is being constructed on a 1-acre land out of the 3-acre piece of land that had been grabbed by private developers, with plans in place for the construction of the Mwembe Legeza Primary School on the same land. The project comes as relief to parents and learners, as learners would walk for miles to access learning in neighboring areas.
Upande huu tunaoona jengo linaendelea kwa sasa, hiyo ni Mwembe Legeza Secondary School. Tumewekeza pesa milioni 13 kujenga jengo hilo, na upande ule wa kule kuna ekari moja nyingine ambayo tumeitenga kujenga Mwembe Legeza Primary School. na upande wa nyuma kuna ekari moja tumetenga kwa viwanja vya shule na pia jamii hapa mtaani iweze kutumia viwanja vile kukuza talanta zao. Kwa hivyo hii shule iko na manufaa makubwa sana, kwa sababu watoto wa hapa Tanzalani Village wengi hawaendi shule kwa sababu shule ziko mbali sana. Mtoto wa miaka 5, miaka 6 hawezi kutembea hapa mpaka Utange Primary, ndio shule ya karibu, au atoke hapa tembee mpaka Bamburi Primary kule upande ya Cement Factory, ambapo ni kipande kirefu sana. Kwa hivyo sisi tumeamua kama viongozi wa Kisauni kuleta huduma na kuleta kitu ambacho tunajua ni basic right ya kila mtoto katika Jamhuri ya Kenya, ambayo iko katika constitution yetu kuwa kila mtoto iko na right ya kupata elimu, na tunamshukuru Mheshimiwa Rais kwa kuja na mfumo wa elimu ya bure katika shule za umma kuanzia primary mpaka class 8 na kuanzia form 1 mpaka form 4 katika day schools. Zote hizi ni shule za bure.
Let's take another short commercial break on News Watch. Business News is coming up next.
Dunia ni mali ya Bwana na vyote vijazavyo.
Nguruwe ni mali ya Bwana au?
Ni mali ya Bwana.
Bata ni mali ya Bwana?
Ni mali.
Wewe kula basi. Acha mambo mengi.
Yesu ndiye njia.
Muislamu yoyote ambaye anamkataa Yesu, kwanza sisi tunamjua ni kafiri.
Bila huyu Yesu, mtu aendi kwa Baba.
Ungana na walimu wa neno wanapochambua masuala tata katika Biblia, wakiyalinganisha na vitabu vingine vya kidini.
Je, kuna ushahidi wowote Muhammad aliwahi ona Qur'ani? Na hii Qur'ani muliitoa wapi? Halo?
Piga simu moja kwa moja na pia uchangie kupitia SMS na Facebook.
Itawezekana kitabu cha Biblia ambaye mwanakiamini kuwa ni kitabu cha Mwenyezi Mungu ishindwe kumtabiri mtu ambaye ana wafuasi zaidi ya bilioni 100 duniani.
Je, Muhammad amekufa ama yuko hai?
Ungana nasi kila Jumamosi saa 2 hadi saa 4 ya usiku kwenye runinga uipendayo ya Hope TV.
Welcome back to this broadcast. Now, stakeholders in the informal sector have commended President Uhuru Kenyatta for awarding the Jua Kali artisans the tender on the 1.9 billion shilling desk program. The stakeholders on Thursday held a press conference under the Informal Sector Coalition on Business Support and Continuity, where they said the sector has been hit greatly by the COVID-19 pandemic, resulting in thousands of job losses and monies amounting to millions. This sector is the most significant driver of the economy in Kenya by employing an estimated number of 16.4 million people. George Jesse reports.
Informal sector, 16.4 million Kenyans.
After being hit hard by a COVID-19 pandemic, the informal sector has urged the government to offer them grants to boost the sector from the COVID-19 effects. Stakeholders in the sector under the Informal Sector Coalition on Business Support and Continuity met at a Nairobi hotel, where they said COVID-19 has brought them a number of challenges, including cash flow, loss of livelihoods and jobs, little or no business orders, and shortage of raw materials, among others.
Cash flow was wiped, orders were wiped, even they couldn't afford to pay their rents. They couldn't even afford to eat. That is how severe the COVID-19 was to the informal economic sector. If the formal sector was devastated that way, and we were relying on them to buy from us and feed us, it means the effect on our side was severe.
The sector is, however, cognizant of the effort put forth by the government in developing initiatives targeted at the sector to encourage local manufacturers of PPEs, furniture, building and construction in a bid to support the Buy Kenya Build Kenya initiative, including the rollout of the 1.9 billion Kenya shillings school desks program, which has been handed over to the Jua Kali sector.
Tunataka kushukuru President sana because of what he's done. He has recognized this sector in this COVID. These are hard times for the sector, but he came out strongly and gave the tenders and said that they should be done by the small person, huko chini mashinani. And he did it by example. Juzi tulimwona pale Umoja. He went and sat on a chair that is made by us. That is a very good example the president has done. We also thank him very much because alisema masks zitengenezwe mashinani. He didn't give the big brothers that job. So what we like to say, we would like to thank him, 1. 2, we like to make sure that these tenders come down to us. We've taken our samples to chamber. We've taken our samples 2 times. We need them to be recognized, and if they don't meet the standards, as the chair said, they should come and train us so that at least tupate hiyo nafasi. Hii kazi yetu isiende mahali kwingine.
The informal sector, which thrives in Kenya rural and urban centers, accounted for 83.6% of total employment in 2018 and is now working closely with the Kenya National Chambers of Commerce and Industry to ensure well-coordinated access to opportunities and the necessary assistance towards access to affordable finance through the Recovery and Resilience Program, access to business opportunities, both in private and public sectors.
We also like to request for a fund, a grant, sababu biashara zetu ni kama zimeisha wengine. Kwa hivyo as much as wanatupatia loan, they can as well consider a grant tupate kuinua biashara zetu kutoka mashinani. Na tukipata hayo tutashukuru na tutazidi kuwashukuru. Yetu ni kufanya kazi, tukisikia tenda imepeanwa mahali, kindly let us register companies so that at least we can be in a position to take tenders, sababu bila kampuni we can't get tenders. Kwa hivyo let us register companies ndio tuweze kupata hizo tender.
For Hope TV, I'm Joe Jesse.
The Nairobi Forum, an initiative of the Kenya Private Sector Alliance KEPSA Foundation, has launched the inaugural Nairobi Forum Annual Summit to be held on the 29th to 30th October 2020. This will coincide with the World Cities Day, which will be on the 31st of October 2020. The 2-day virtual event will bring together key stakeholders and provide a platform to discuss the transformation of Nairobi to a better place to live in, work and invest. During the event, the Nairobi Forum will be officially launched as an institution. Speaking during the announcement of the event, the Nairobi Forum chairperson Emma Miloye said that the summit will provide stakeholders a chance to deliberate on diverse issues affecting the city and its inhabitants.
Going forward, the forum will seek to make Nairobi the #1 city to live, work in and invest in Africa. Today, we are pleased to announce that we plan to hold the inaugural Nairobi Forum Annual Summit. This is a 2-day virtual event that will be held on the 29th and 30th of October. The event will bring together key stakeholders from different sectors in Nairobi who will have an opportunity to discuss the transformation agenda of Nairobi to be a sustainable, livable city for all.
And Kenya Power has commenced the relocation of power lines between Mlolongo in Mombasa Road and James Gishuru Road to pave way for the construction of 27.1-kilometer long Nairobi Expressway. The exercise is being carried out at a cost of 1.08 billion shillings, which will be matched by the Kenya National Highways Authority, KENHA. The scope of the work will involve the relocation of a combined 106 kilometers of high voltage, 66 kilovolt, medium voltage, 11 kilovolt and low voltage cables, as well as 28 transformers serving the area. As of Thursday, Kenya Power has covered 17 kilometers of the expressway. Once completed, 40.6 kilometers of the network will pass underground.
The job as KPLC is actually to remove our infrastructure, to give way for the project, the express highway project, to proceed as planned. We have undertaken to clear this job. We have been given a timeline, which is end of November this year, that we have to clear up our infrastructure, but at the same time ensure that our customers are on supply, that is having electricity.
So this has to be relocated. The road, as you know, is about 27 or so kilometers, but when it comes to moving the power lines, the transmission lines, and relocating them, the relocation exercise will be about 100 kilometers or so. The reason is, even though the 27 is the direct line, these lines are interconnected and other lines out off the road have to move too. This is a very expensive exercise, going to cost about 1 billion Kenyan shillings. Luckily, the government through KENHA has allocated this money as part of the project. So Kenya Power is an implementing agency on the part of the disposition of its infrastructure. I want to congratulate the managing director and the engineer in charge, Engineer Machasio, for having done this job on a very, very timely manner. As you drive this road, you see the Kenya Power staff everywhere. You see them loading and unloading and moving cranes. They are on schedule. I'm informed that they're over 75% of the work already. The other small section that's remaining will be done before 30th of November.
All right, that story brings us to a close on News Watch tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'll see you again tomorrow same time. I'm Tony Omondi, and our sign language interpreter has been Boniface Muriithi. Have a good night and God bless.